Well, hello and welcome back. It's Joni from Joni's Journals, and how is everyone today? First and foremost, the family has returned, safe and sound, considering the weather we've been having here these past few days. That is saying quite a lot. If you are not aware, our area was under a tropical storm watch. And boy, did we have a tropical storm. There just was so much rain and so much wind. But well northwest of us is where Hurricane Debbie hit. It was a Category 1, and it swept this way through northwestern Florida, straight across to northeastern Florida, and then sailed up the coast. And if I'm remembering correctly, Georgia and the Carolinas are now getting the wind and the rain at a much more forceful amount than we did, because they are in the midst of Hurricane Debbie. Yeah, so if I thought it was bad trying to train a 3-month-old puppy to go and pee and poop outside in the regular rainstorm, you had to see what was going on during the tropical storm. And the rain lasted for, I want to say 3 days. It started Saturday, went straight through Sunday, continued on yesterday into yesterday evening, where we had some bad thunder and lightning, but we came through it. We're good. We're drying out. Anyway, while my family was gone, they did bring me back some presents. My daughter and I both love stickers. So they went to visit Castillo de San Marcos, which is in St. Augustine, Florida. And it's an old fort. And of course, I said to my husband, "Are you going to bring me back a gift?" So he said, "Of course I am." So I got some t-shirts. I got a t-shirt from my husband, a t-shirt from my daughter. She even bought me a little bracelet. Purple is my favorite color. But this I thought was the cutest little thing. My husband brought me back a cannon. And I said, "Oh, how cute." But this is not just a plain old cannon. This is a pencil sharpener. So yeah, I was happy to have them home and to not be alone anymore. So yeah, everybody is back and everybody is safe and sound. And so I am happy about that. But along with us completing our little decor piece, our journal topper, if you want to call it that, I have been working, I guess, in secret on my Compendium Revamped journal. And I did show you guys the cover. I was going to do a trifold folio, but I opted not to do that, and because I was tossing up whether I wanted to do that or whether I wanted to do a Reader's Digest cover. And so, as I explained to you, I did select the Reader's Digest cover. So I've covered it using pages from the Compendium Revamp, and I coated it with a coat of the Distress Collage Medium in matte, which is still a little bit shiny, but that's fine for me. It's protected, and that's good. I have not decorated the cover yet. That is something that will come later on, because I was working on the guts, shall we say. And so let me move this away. I have decided to do something on this journal that I have never done before, and that is to create a hidden spine. What I've done is I've covered the inside papers. I forgot. There's a fancy name for them. I'm just going to call them the inside papers. With paper from the kit. I picked my 2 favorite pages, which is the one with the butterfly and also this one with the flowers. And so I laid those down in here, and then I took some of my Tim Holtz linen tape and I covered the edges of the inside where the pages had been cut out, and I just made a coat of tape all the way across to cover the torn edges here and to cover the back of the spine. So then I said, well, how am I going to put my book in? Because now, or put my my little leaflets in, my pages. And I said, I don't really want to sew through this. So I said, all right, well, let's try and see if we can do a hidden spine. So what I've done is I've taken 3 pieces of cardstock and I've glued them together. And then I covered them with one of the sheets of paper. You can see I picked this one again to cover the craft stock. And I have measured out my lines. I don't know if you're really able to see the little pencil marks. And I've made one here and one in the middle and one here. And then, of course, my 3 going this way so that I know where to stitch the word is escaping me. I can't think of what the word is. My leaflets, oh my gosh, whatever. You know what I mean. My little, these. Where I know where to stitch them. And I do have enough room for all 3 of them because it is going to be a 3. Yeah, I can't think of the word. All right, it'll come to me. 3 sections of the journal. And then I plan to glue this down. Now, I'm taking a chance because I don't know how successful I'm going to be sewing into this by itself and whether or not I'll be able to actually get it to glue down, but we're going to give it a shot. So that is my cover and the explanation of my spine. And let me get to each of my little, oh my gosh, the word is like on the tip of my tongue. Each of my little sections. In lieu of doing a file folder trifold journal, I decided to make 3 little sections for my book. And they're based with file folder. And then I have covered them with craft stock. And then I have covered them with decorative paper. And then I have added this cute little torn edge. I wonder if you can see it here, which is something I'm going to teach you how to do. It's kind of like when you rip paper out of a notebook and you end up with these little edges. Well, I created one for this one, and I created one for this one. We are going to create one for this one. Okay, so let me just give you a quick run through of them. I have decorated the cover with some ephemera on each of these 2, and I've added a pocket on the front where I have tucked in one of the little tags that we made together, the little pocket tag. I didn't know, remember I said I didn't know if I was going to glue it down or what I was going to do with it. For now, I've decided to tuck it in the pocket. And what I've done here, I'll show you both sides at once, is I have decorated the insides with, remember my flowers from our little decor? Well, I had tons of flowers left over, so I've been using them to decorate the inside of my little areas. And I have added some decoration to here and some of these little number chips. Well, Tracy has included a few of them. I think there's 6 or 7 of them in the ephemera kit. And so I laid them out on here, and you'll notice 7/26. Well, that's my birthday. So I decided to make 7/26. So I've added just some little ephemera on the inside of the cover. Okay. And I'll just give you a little quick flip through. And I have printed out extras of the pages for each. And I believe each section has 7 pieces of paper, which gives you 14 sides. And I've done some ink dyeing with my ink sprays. And I have made an envelope. This is not my favorite thing to do, but I do like using envelopes, although I'm not really happy with the way they all turn out when they're decorated. This one has a top opening flap, to which I've glued some background papers. And on this, I created some angles around the window to give it a little bit of interest. And on the inside, I've just glued some more pieces from the pages in the kit. And so, yeah, each one of these sections will have an envelope. In fact, we're going to create the envelope for the one section that has yet to be decorated. So I'm just giving you a flip. I printed out plenty of pages from the kit, and I printed out some papers from Tracy's new Scrap and Scraps kit. This is some rice paper that I've had laying around. So each signature, there we go. I knew it would pop into my head. Each signature will have a piece of rice paper. And again, here's some of my ink dyed paper. I'm not the best at ink dyeing, but I kind of like the way it comes out. And so, yeah, and then we have our centerfold, okay? So that's that signature, now that I remember the word. And I plan on kind of making this sort of art themed. I may use it in the end as maybe an art journal. I don't know, and add some book page to it. But I am going to keep this one. This one's kind of special to me. And so on each one of these little tabs, as you can see, I always keep my tabs on my file folders. I'm going to find some artistic words that I want to add in. And I'm going to put those onto my little file folders. Now this one, you can see I decorated the front. And again, the inside is decorated pretty similarly. On the front, what I did was I took one of the tags and I laid it down onto the front of my little file folder. And I created a tuck using the little torn edge. And one of the pieces that I had left over from all my cutting that I did. And I made this a little tuck. And I thought I had an extra tag out, but I don't. You know what? Let me just take the tag from here. I'm going to pull out this tag out of the pocket. Because again, here's our little pocket tag that we made. And so this is a little tuck in the front. And this tag's a little too big for it. But you can see you can tuck in a little tag right there. Okay, like that. And maybe I'll show you how to do that on the other one. I don't know. I've kind of got stuff laid out for us to decorate with. And I haven't quite decided whether or not I just want to do this little faux torn edge or whether I want to make it a tuck. Okay, so that's what I did. And this one's exactly the same. I'll just pull out this envelope. This envelope started out, and I was very displeased with it because it's sort of like a little patchwork here. But then I said, you know what? Let's just continue with the theme. And again, here's a little pocket. This one has no cellophane in its window, but it has a little window. And I just went along and I kept up with the collage theme. And so I made this one. I'm going to call this my quilt. I guess it's kind of like a little quilted envelope. And there is a little pocket here too. And I don't know what I'm going to tuck into it yet. But it'll go in this signature, like so. And I have a nice big one planned for us to decorate. And that'll be a separate video outside of this one. So let me just tuck this little signature back into the cover and bring over this one. Okay, this is the one I thought we might decorate together. And again, I have my rice paper and some of my dyed pages and such all in this one. And so I'm just going to put those pages aside because we don't really need them. And I figured we would decorate the inside of this one together. And we'll get to decorating the outside when I show you how to create the torn edge. Okay? I do have a couple of pieces that I want to add on the outside. And you can see this label here, which is part of the paper itself, is upside down. The writing is upside down. But what I did was when I put my signatures together, I wanted this front page to match this front page. But I wanted them to be opposite so that your eye was drawn up and down to the little decorations on here. Now this one is right side up, facing in the direction that it needs to be, but this one's upside down. So what are we going to do about the upside down words? we're just going to cover them. And I have this little piece of ephemera that came from the kit, and I am just going to lay it down so that it's covering all of the words. Okay, I have all of my glues already cleaned off and ready for us to use. And I have a little damp baby wipe. I've been using that one all morning. And so we're just going to glue down this piece of ephemera to cover up our upside down part. And I'm just doing this so you can see that if you use a paper and it might not be facing just in the right direction that you want it to be, cover it up. Or leave it. If it doesn't bother you, you don't have to cover it up. But I didn't want to look at it and say, oh, those words are upside down, when the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter, the things that are in the background. That forefront in the design was upside down, and it was kind of bothering me. Okay, so I have that little card. That's going to cover up there. And then this section here was a little bit white. So what I did was I took another piece of the ephemera, which is this little, I don't know what it's called, but it seems to be like a monthly dial where you can match up your dates. And I laid it onto a piece of craft sock. It's one of the circles that I had left over from when I created the tiny little crochet hoops that I showed you when we did our decor. And then I took the number 26. I purchased, and I can't remember where I got them from, but they're countdown brads from Tim Holtz Ideology, and they have little numbers on them. So I took the 26 and I circled the month of my birthday, which is July, and I'm just going to lay that down here in the corner, okay, just to be a decoration. It doesn't have to spin. And so I'm going to put some glue on here. I put the brad into the piece of ephemera, and I see I spoke too soon. Now my glue is stuck. I stuck the brad down into the piece of ephemera, and then I glued the piece of ephemera and the brad down to the little circle that was created out of the craft paper. All right, hopefully this will work now. Yes, there we go. And so I'm just going to glue the circle down here in the corner, and make sure that my number is facing up in the right direction, although I'm going to put this on a little bit of an angle. And I'm just going to push it down, and you can see my brads popping up, but I don't really care about that. Things like that don't bother me. It's when things are crooked or upside down that I get a little bit upset. Okay. So there we go. That's all we're going to add to our cover for right now, because I do want to teach you how to make the torn edge, the torn paper edge. And we'll do that in the next video, where we're also going to decorate our envelope for this particular signature. Oh boy, I can't stop saying that word now that I remember what it means. All right. Now I have picked out some things for each of my papers so that I save you all the grief of watching that. And I picked out a few little pieces of ephemera here for this side of the inside of the signature. Now I'm just showing off. And so, yeah, this is one little blue label, and this says this book is free from Sears Roebuck and Company, because their catalog was always free. And this is Lodge number 274. This is all ephemera from the kit. So when you purchase the kit, you get all this stuff, the pockets and all of this stuff. Now you'll see here, you may recognize one of my little flowers. And I want to put a flower so that it's going to stay kind of hidden and it looks like it's tucked into my pocket. So to judge where I want to put my flower, I'm just going to grab my little pocket. And I want my pocket basically centered on the page, but a little bit up from the bottom. So here, I want to make sure that my flower is peeking out over the top, so I know roundabout where my flower is going to go. And what do I always do? But I use my pencil. And I'm just going to make a little pencil mark here where I know that this leaf is going to lay against. And we're going to put some glue onto our flower, and hopefully this little bottle with the fine point will cooperate. And so we're going to put glue. I think you've seen me do this before. I explained to you that I put glue in the larger areas, although I am using PVA because I want the playtime. I'm not using any of the quick drying glues. I don't really need to worry too much about this glue drying before I get my piece attached to the paper, but why not take precautions and just be sure that our glue is going to remain wet. And so yeah, we'll just do that there, and then I'm just going to add glue onto the stem like so. And in this case, I'm going to go all the way down because I want to make sure that my flower is going to remain staying stuck while it's inside my pocket. I could trim the stems, but to be honest, I don't really feel like it. So I'm just going to use the whole stem of the flower, and you can see my glue has stopped working. Here I thought I was being so smart this morning, getting everything prepared and making sure I had everything inked so this could be quick for you guys and have to sit and suffer, and my glue is not working well. Okay, so now we're just going to take our flower and we're going to match our little leaf here up to that pencil mark that I made, and we're going to lay our flower down. Now these stems are thin enough that you get a little bit of movement, and so if you want to tilt your flower in a certain direction, you can kind of pull it a little, you know, kind of like when you're, oh, I just realized I wanted to put my ephemera down first. Okay, I'm sitting here chit-chatting away like all get out, and I forgot I wanted to tuck my ephemera under this side of the flower. All right, anyway, as I was saying, you do have the ability to kind of shift this around. I'm just going to lay this like this because I wanted to tuck in my little Sears and Roebuck label here underneath. And let's see, we can put our little blue label like so. And I wanted to put this one, the little lodge label, in here like so. Oh. And so let's see if we can get that started before. We're going to have to add some more glue to our flowers, the tips of our flowers, but that's okay. All right, let me make a little mark, a little pencil mark under here so that I know where I'm doing that, and one along here, and then one along here. I just want you guys to know that I do go back and I do erase the pencil marks once I have completed my make. So yeah, just so you know, I'm going to use my big glue on here because my little glue has a headache. And so I'm just going to lay down this first little label here, which says Lodge, and I'm just going to lay it above that little pencil mark, maybe even right onto it. Make sure it's straight. And I'll wipe off the excess glue. Yeah, so while the storm was going on, my neighbor has one of those white PVC plastic fences. My husband and I like chain link. We do have a chain link fence around our property to protect my dogs. Oh, forgot we wanted to put the blue one down first. Oh, you know, I guess planning ahead is not always the best thing for me. I think that sometimes I should just go for it. Okay, we wanted to put the blue label here, like so. And we're going to make sure that's straight. But anyway, so my husband and I like chain link fences. I don't like white PVC fences. One of my neighbors put one up back when we lived in New York. I guess for a little bit of privacy on their property. And it wasn't privacy from us. I think it was just privacy in general. And it made me feel like I was living in a box. And I didn't really care for it. We had one neighbor behind us. They were not the friendliest. They were not the original neighbor that lived back there. And they put up a fence. They had small children. And so I kind of understood. They wanted to make sure that their children were safe and such. But I just really felt like I was living in a box. And then my other neighbor wanted to brighten up her yard. And she said, I hope you don't mind, but we are going to put down a PVC fence. And I understood. She had a dog who liked to escape. And I guess they thought that that was the best way to do it. Then our neighbor on the other side said that they were going to put up a wooden fence, but because they liked to talk to us all the time, they said that they weren't going to put the wooden fence up on our side of their property because they wanted to be able to talk to us. And so I thought that was really nice. But yeah, if I had had three sides being closed in by those white PVC fences, I think I would have just been extremely unhappy. Like I said, it made me feel like I'm living in a box. But back to why this story started. Our neighbors next door, it is a bed and breakfast, and so they do rent it out, you know, by the week, by the month, by the weekend, which, you know, I'm not too pleased with that idea, but so far we haven't really had too many problems. We did have a bunch of young married kids that were living there just before, that were renting there just before we moved into our house, and they set the grill on fire, which it happens. My husband has done it at least twice that I can remember, and actually melted the plastic siding on our house back in New York. So yeah, you do have grease fires and such, and they will, you know, make a mess. But these kids were in the middle of the street screaming and yelling, and one young girl just kept yelling, "Oh my God, we're all gonna die." She thought the propane tanks under the grill was going to explode. And of course, my husband and my neighbor, you know, grown men, are trying to explain to her that the tank is not just going to explode because there's fire around it. The only time that will explode is if the gas leaks out. So the fire department came, and my next door neighbor and my husband were in the backyard trying to extinguish the fire. But anyway, back to the fence. Let me just explain to you what I'm doing here. You see this section here? It's a little too plain for me. So I decided I wanted to kind of jazz it up, and I pulled from the blue in here, and I pulled out another one of the blue labels from the kit, and I'm going to place that blue label right about there. And then I thought this was really cute. New 1912 model, 300 to 400 pounds per hour capacity. Not really sure what it's a 1912 model of, but I just thought it was pretty funky. And so I just thought I might add that right here just to give it a little something, something. Okay, back to the white PVC fence. So, of course, you know, we went through Hurricane Ian in 2022, which was going on just about 2 years ago. And when Hurricane Ian hit, we owned our house. It was almost finished, but we didn't have our CO, which is your certificate of occupancy, so we were not living here yet. The hurricane hit, and thank God, knock on wood, wood's here, our house survived and did extremely well. It's built up to the latest specifications of hurricane codes. Hurricanes in Southwest Florida have taught the builders a lot of ways to keep a house standing. But our neighbor's PVC fence was blown over. That's the other advantage to having chain link. The wind blows through it instead of through it. It won't knock it over, it'll blow through it, and there's no place for the wind to go against the PVC. So, we had a tropical storm, and of course, what is the fence doing? But it was never really put back properly, and so the wind is blowing the fence, and so it's creaking, and who gets nervous but a puppy? So I took little Whiskey outside and, trying to get him to tinkle and to stay outside because it was pouring rain. And oh my goodness, well, don't you know, the fence just starts to rock back and forth, and it literally was going ee, ee. So every time the wind blew and the fence rocked, who headed for the house but Whiskey? So yeah, trying to get him to pee. And then of course, our other dog, who's 5.5 years, is not any brave big boy either. And so to get him to go outside at all, oh, lordy, lordy. You can laugh about it now, but it was very frustrating, especially because I was here alone, trying to get these 2 boys out just to do their business. Oh, goodness gracious. And of course, I don't know if you've ever heard the term where, you get distracted easily and someone shouts, "Squirrel!" Well, that's basically the way my life was going for 3 days of rain and thunder and lightning, and oh my goodness gracious. But anyway, back to our journal. So you can see I've added some ephemera here, and I remembered to lay it down before I put my leaf down. And I'm just going to add a little leaf here in the top corner just to give it a little interest. You know me, I like a little something something here and there. And yeah, we'll just get that done. And I do have some plant stems. I was going to say weeds. Plant stems picked out to decorate under this pocket because I am slowly running out of flowers to decorate, use it in this journal to decorate. And so, yeah, I have these leafy stems, and so we're just going to use those. And I thought the colors were kind of cool because they matched the pocket. Now, you'll notice that I strategically picked out which pocket I wanted for each side. This was a plainer sheet of paper, so I decided to use the more decorative pocket. So I'm not going to be adding anything to this pocket like I did here. So let's just figure out where we want to put our stems. And as I said on the other page, I do want it to kind of look like they're tucked into the pocket. And I kind of thought, since the die cuts are going in different directions, that I would make them look like they're spraying out and be coming out of the pocket. So now, do I want to have those little leaves peeking out on the side? Sure I do. Okay. Excuse me. All right, we're going to take and we're going to make a pencil mark down here because we've decided that we want our little leaves to spray out. Okay, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to make a little pencil mark here on this one so I know where I want to put this piece. And again, if you want to do this, just remember, if you're going to try to sell your journal, or if it even really bothers you, it doesn't bother me. Just remember to go back and erase your pencil marks when you're done with them. Sometimes I forget, sometimes I remember. I packed up an order from my Etsy shop a couple of days ago. And I sold one of my little, like little folder journals. It's more like a card keeper, you know, little pockets that you can make to keep tuck little, you know, tags or little journal cards into. And I was so upset to find, and this is the second time that this has happened to me. When I make something, I very carefully pack it away. And I store my stuff in plastic containers in my closet. And, you know, it's a cool situation, and everything is, you know, protected. I had been using this white elastic, and I am so displeased. It didn't hold up very well. I'm not gonna jeopardize my possibly having a problem, you know, by criticizing someone's products, but I generally, before I ship something out that I've sold, I go through it again and I make sure that all the papers are still, you know, nicely kept, and that the tags are in good shape. And when I make a journal, and you'll see that I add tags and things to it, when I pack it up to be put away, you know, in hopes that it will sell, I generally take all of the tags and all of the looser ephemera out of the book so that the pages don't get crushed and the ephemera doesn't get ruined and such. And this is the second time that I have sold one of these little journals, and I have actually had to replace the elastic. And I was just so angry that it happened again. You know, I thought the first time it happened, maybe it was just a fluke. And so I sent off my package to my customer, and I put back the white elastic because that's the way that it was advertised on my Etsy, just so that she wasn't displeased sorry if I hit you, so that she wasn't displeased with what she received, in case she really, really, really liked the white elastic. But I took and I cut off a really long length of the black elastic that I use, and you've seen me use it before. And I just tucked it in the package, and I just apologized and told her I've been very unhappy with the results that I've been achieving from the white elastic. And the reason I'm also telling you this is I may have linked that elastic in another of my videos, and so I just kind of want to give you a fair warning that if it's something you're not going to use right away, and if you, oh, excuse me, I have terrible hiccups from too much coffee. If you've purchased the elastic and you're not going to use it right away, you might want to think about returning it, unless you're going to use it and then it's not going to matter the durability of it. But yeah, I packed up the thing. I just felt so bad. I don't like to do that to my customers. But let's see. Now, do we have... well, we must have... I'm going to shift my pocket over just a smidgen. That's not too bad. We don't see too many of the leaves, but it leaves a little bit of interest there with a little leaf sticking out. Now, I am just going to stick my pins back into my glue. I'm going to do this one's more important, and I'm just going to grab my bone folder, and I'm going to push this down, and I'm going to make sure that it's staying stuck to the page. Okay. I know the ephemera will stay stuck, but the pockets, you've seen me do these pockets before. If there's anybody that hasn't seen how I do the pockets, they come in Tracy's kits, and they're very simple to cut out and very simple to assemble. But if someone hasn't seen, just let me know. I'll print out another set and I'll show you how. But they are a little bit bulky because you do fold up the edges. And you do always want edges on your pockets, you know, the kind that wrap around, because it gives you more room inside your pocket. And it also makes it a little bit more stable for you to tuck stuff in. So there we go. We have started decorating our front cover. And we've decorated our inside cover. I've been leaving the back covers of all of the, what's the word, signatures, blank. At least I think I did. Yeah, because this is a space where you can write. Okay, I mean, you can just jot stuff down. This page, that's perfect for writing on. And I think I did use the plainer pages. Yep, and again here, this is the same page that's in here, and there is a lot of area to write stuff down. So I'm going to leave the back of this one plain too. This one is decorated, so maybe if I want to do a little stamping in here, who knows? We'll see, we'll see. And so here are the pages to tuck into the signature. This is going to be the signature that's in the middle of the book, because I felt like the colors in these were so similar. And of course, if I have it on the front, I had to tuck him in here in the back, okay, in the last signature. And so yeah, the journal's going to go together like this. And it's going to be a little bit chubbier because I may yet add some pages. I was looking at, Tracy has another compendium kit. It's MK3. And I may just run over and get that kit and add some of that into here too. But there we go. Here's our 3 signatures. We've begun. And here's our cover. We're going to have to decorate this cover. I have one thing picked out. And like I said, I did want to kind of make this maybe a little bit artsy. And so when I was going through my Tim Holtz metal bits, I pulled this one out. If I can grab a hold of it. And it says, property of art department. If found, please return. So I want to add this somewhere on the cover because like I said, I may make this a little bit of an artsy journal, you know, and add things here and there to it. If I remember, I'll pull out one of my art journals. I don't do it often, but when I do it, I get so involved in it that I kind of like lose myself in it, but I do art journaling. And these are some scraps that I have left over because I have cut the piece that we're going to use to make our torn edge. I pulled out some guest checks, which I'm thinking of doing something with tea bags. Susie at Shabby Soul, I think I've spoken about her before. She's one of Tim Holtz makers. She does great stuff with tea bags. And I've watched her, and I experiment, and I have done some stuff, and I have put it in other little journals, which, by the way, reminds me, we do have to finish our Tim Holtz journal. So, yeah, I have tons of scraps because I've cut out pieces for our envelope. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek. And when we do our envelope, we're going to do our torn edges. And so, yeah, I have all these little yummy scraps to play with, too. So I'm going to let you go for now because I think I've been talking for, oh my gosh, a really long time. So I'm going to send you lots of love, big hugs, and ask you to please remember like, subscribe, and comment. And I will be back soon to do our envelope and our torn edge. And I will see you then. I have to squeeze in as many videos as I can. I go back to school on Thursday. And so, yeah, my time to record is going to be limited. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. We've been at it for too long. Bye. I'll see you soon. Love, hugs, like, subscribe, comment. See you then.